great documentaries there that we've been doing about all of the legends in the game. And of course, Markelov, another one of the Na'Vi alumni, one of those just great players with so much pedigree, so much history. And again, I'll bring you in here, the Counter-Strike historian, Duncan. Just a few thoughts about him as a player.
I mean, in 1.6, one of the best players ever, even though he only got his chance to be like a star because Na'Vi only came around in 2010. So he only basically had like less than 2 years to be fully on top, well, I guess 2.5, to be fully at the top of the game. But he's one of those people, along with Get Right, where because they came along at the end, how spectacular they were, couldn't catch up with the other greats. Because the other greats had the 6 to 7 years of career. But I always thought if CS 1.6 had lasted 3 or 4 years more, Markelov would have been one of the guys who we'd now be talking about. You could make the case, is he like the best player ever? Because one of his key qualities he had was he wasn't just a phenomenally skilled player, phenomenally skilled fragger, but he was one of the best big game players you'll ever see. He's never been able, unfortunately, to translate it to CSGO, but in 1.6, if you put him in the big final and you gave him the AWP, you put him against any team, he would just take over the whole game.
Yeah.
To be fair, you made the point that we haven't really seen that translate to CSGO, but the last major Markelov stats were actually the most impressive on his entire team. So he did step up in that case for Flipside last time, and of course now on the rifle.
And right at the start of CSGO, of course, it was one of the big debates, wasn't it? You know, like, was Markelov going to be this, you know, phenomenal talent? He did have that good run right at the start. So.
Well, Anders is convinced that talking to him that Markelov just has a switch he can flip and just become that star player again. He thinks that Markelov's like just holding something back.
He just doesn't know where it is.
Yeah, no, he just hasn't wanted to unleash it yet for whatever reason. So if you talk to Anders about Markelov,
Anders thinks he's like Professor X, and he's going out there trying to find people with the latent mutant gene, and he's like, listen, if you just get in touch with yourself and find what the special thing inside you, you can become something powerful in this game. And I'm like, okay, mate. Well, about 2 of them ever did.
Anders can make you believe it, though.
Yeah.
Not me though, because I'm Magneto, mate. I'm like, listen,
he might think he's Professor X.
I'll find the brotherhood of evil mutants.
You might think he's Professor X, but he looks more like Beast.
See, he can take Markelov, I'll have Simple.
Right,
I'll unleash that guy on the world.
Let's just introduce. You'll have noticed we've swapped Henry out. Henry's getting ready. I think he's going to be casting a game. We brought Moses in, and obviously...
when one NA fanboy is not enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I was really hoping at this stage we were going to be able to just go in and wreck you a little bit. One of the NA teams might have fallen, but your boys actually came up good.
It's in Moses' contract that he doesn't actually have to do the desk when NA teams are doing it, because he doesn't want to have to cry on camera.
Yeah, that's true. He is emotional.
Yeah.
What did you make of Cloud9 anyway?
I was waiting that entire match. I was just like holding my breath, waiting for them to drop the ball, like they normally do. They normally always have like one heartbreak round. They looking good, and then lose an eco or something. They lose an anti-eco round, and then it just all goes downhill. But it didn't come, and they were the ones that switched things around when it looked like Vex was actually going to take that at a certain point. So, I mean, it's not enough for them. I mean, it's not like celebration or anything, because they're expected to get out of groups.
Can we make a little documentary about Moses and have like slow-mo footage of him watching the game? Take my breath away.
And then we could do Henry from London with these skins. Those
I could get one of those. I could get one of those Valve.
It would just be him in an empty room going, they're not at the tournament. So anyway, let's talk about the next game. Obviously, Flipside versus mousesports. That's why we were doing the Markelov video. It was thematically appropriate. But 2 teams that we feel are in the doldrums right now. You know, Flipside seem to be going through an identity crisis. You know, they've lost the player, the ever controversial Simple, but phenomenally talented. They've got this new lineup here, and you know, they're going to go up against the mousesports team that equally brought in a new player that was meant to be the key to their success, the key to cementing their position and ironing out the problems they've had. They looked pretty lackluster against G2 yesterday. So just some opening thoughts about these 2 teams.
The simple thing is, it's almost gotten to the point where I feel bad for the teammates that Simple has, not even because of his toxicity in game, but because that's all we talk about. We put so much emphasis on him every time he's on the team. Even when he was with Hellraisers, now Oscar kind of came in, and obviously he's left them, but it's always Simple, because he has that explosive factor. But the thing is, the other team, like Blade is an exceptional in-game leader. We don't give him enough credit sometimes. They've got Markelov with a lot of experience, and one of the things that Blade used to say about Davcost in specific when they used him, and of course they've used him at previous ESL majors due to Simple's ban, that Davcost listens very well, and he actually applies himself to the team very well, and it actually, he thinks as a team they play better with Davcost. They may not have that explosive skill that Simple had, but he thinks they're actually more productive with him in the lineup.
Well, and they've been on the record as saying in interviews, we're a better team without Simple.
I mean, they're wrong, by the way.
Yeah, they're wrong. I
Here's the
think there's a
thing.
bit of kidology there.
If you want to use semantics, I could believe they play well without him. Like, they play better, as in, like, the unit functions better,
Right.
the communication, they feel like they know what their strengths are. Problem is, no one in this team's Simple. So Simple could always one-man carry you to the win. It's like, there's a great Michael Jordan quote, okay, where one of his coaches or something said to him, like, listen, Michael, there's no I in team. He goes, nah, but there is in win. It's the idea, if you want to win that one big game, the superstar can do that for you. The team can't always do that. That's the problem for Flipside is, if you look at the totality of the players, they've got some decent players here and there. Still no one really who's approaching star caliber.
I'm just thinking about Michael Jordan after he dropped that quote to his coach as well, going, wrecked, and just walking out of the room. Why not, right? So what are your thoughts, brother?
This match, like, for me, it's mousesports. Because I think it was yesterday, was it Semler that compared them to Cloud9? Someone on the desk compared them to Cloud9. I think that's really apt. They have that strategic, Godby and Sean. But just more so in the fact that they always show that potential, but then they never reach it. They don't do it often enough. They just kind of collapse. And with mousesports right now, going into the last major was a team that we expected to do damage, had a very poor event, and then coming into this major, they haven't even progressed from what they performed in Cologne.
I really don't know what happened to mousesports, because like I say, they were in the ascendancy. They were the surprise package. I remember when they came out with this new lineup, after the German shuffle, and they went to Gfinity, and I said this on camera, so I got absolutely hauled over the coals. I said, I think they're the weakest team here. I don't think they're going to do anything. And they came out fighting. They had a win over Virtus Pro, I think it was there, a win over Cloud9, it might have been as well. They were looking really, really strong. And then they went into this big sort of, it was almost like a meteoric rise to the point where people were saying maybe they can be dark horses for the major, but something happened at the Ace of Predator Masters. They were in that ridiculous best-of-7 final, an absolute attritional slog. They were going up against a team in the form of Hellraisers who had to play a bunch of maps. There's no way they should have lost that game, and they did. And then they had to go to the major afterwards, and they crapped out early. So I think they're in the doldrums. I think they're suffering from almost like an identity crisis or something.
I'm not a believer in this mousesports team at all. Like, the two teams I picked that I said was certainly going to go out the tournament was Vexed and Flipside. Didn't believe in them, looked at the groups, it was like everyone can beat them here. But it's not that Flipside have impressed me, it's that mousesports. What I've started to take account of is I really do think they choke in majors. Like, I saw how terrible they were at the last major. They didn't match up well with anyone. I've seen it this one. They look absolutely dire. People like Next aren't showing up. There's rumors maybe he's ill.
They have their superstars, and their superstars just don't ever reach that level.
There's rumors he's ill. Everyone talks about Nico coming in. What's Nico done so far? Nothing. So I don't believe in him.
I think they're perpetual underperformers. If you go back before that as well, Chris J's always had this online Jays. He's made LAN performances a little better, but they had Alu, they had Kerrigan at a time. Godby wasn't even their strategic starter for a while until Kerrigan left, and even then they weren't getting the results and responses. They were struggling to get into the fourth spot for ESEA LAN and 2 years ago even. I mean, they've constantly had this problem. So
I mean, I would say the one shining beacon for them of late is the fact that Chris J does turn up at LAN, and then that is doing that consistently. His performance has been great. The rest of his teammates just haven't. I mean, think about it. It's not even 3 months ago. We're talking about Next as this next big European rifle star. He had such a explosive period where he was just wrecking everybody, and we're like, this is like the German shocks or something. Since then, fallen well off, and it's really hurt the team.
And that's just kind of the best way to describe mousesports, is they've just fallen off. You said they had that meteoric rise, and since then it's just been nothing.
And they went back to speaking English as well to help out Nico, because they brought him back in for Speedy. That's gonna hurt a bit. I mean, you naturally want to yell in your first language, the first thought that comes to your mind, so you can get communication out as fast as possible.
Well,
and now they've got to water it a little bit for him. So.
Switching to English doesn't really matter when one of your teammates is rumored to have tonsillitis and he probably can't.
Yeah, he can't even talk.
It doesn't even matter.
And of course, we all know Gobby's got a good grasp of some of the ruder words of the English language, of course. I guess it is a fair comparison to talk about them in the same breath as Cloud9, because you look at Cloud9, you think they've got all the tools for success, but the machine sort of misfires. It's not very well assembled. It's not very well oiled. You look at mousesports, I'd say it's the same. You've got big stars. You've got people with big talent. You've got a tactical mastermind. You've got a flamboyant and exuberant AWPer. You've got solid and reliable players that can just get their one frag and do it. Where is it all going wrong for mousesports? Can we pinpoint it?
I think you can do. It's hard to pinpoint it exactly, but where you can start is their superstars, much like Cloud9's. You think Cloud9, they have Skadoodle, they have Shroud, We discussed it watching that match. They didn't show up to play in that Vex match early on. They're very fortunate to actually win that match. Same thing with mousesports. Is their stars next Nico? They don't show up. I mean, they just need to produce more than they are currently for this team. You know, as much as we give Gabi, you know, credit for how strategical, how well he does in terms of tactics with his team, we've seen him do brilliantly. It doesn't matter if you have the best tactics in the world if the people that are getting 20 to 25 kills are only hitting, you know, 12 to 15 in these big matches.
Yeah. Well, we're about to get into the veto, and here it is coming up on screen now. So let's get some thoughts before we start seeing the picks and bans. Where do we think this is going to go? Please not Cobble.
Right, mousesports traditionally are a Dust 2 cash team, and then they used to have Train was kind of like a third one they had in their pocket sometimes. Flipside, traditionally Mirage. I think more recently, they're going to want something like maybe Overpass into the mix. But I actually feel as, I mean, mousesports banning away Train there, Dust 2 ban away from Flipside. These two make sense so far. I imagine we're going to end up, unfortunately, towards something like
Cobblestone.
Inferno.
Both these teams do actually like it. This would be the one time I would say I would expect it almost.
Okay,
well, Flipside beat mousesports and Cobblestone at the last major.
And it was mousesports that were absolutely woeful on Inferno yesterday against G2. Couldn't take Banana once. Definitely not a good day at the Greengrocers for them, so no surprise to see that.
You could also
removed.
see Cash in as much as Flipside have always played Cash, but they decided to ban it themselves because remember, they got brutalized yesterday by TSM.
If mousesports don't ban Mirage, I see that making it through as well. Flipside really enjoy their T side on that map. Much like they, and by the way, they liked the first iteration of Cobble that had to be completely rebalanced. They were one of the only teams that liked the T side on that, so they're very comfortable in
Everyone
that
should
map.
thank mousesports. Everyone should thank mousesports right now.
Oh, God bless you, mousesports.
Let's hope we end up on Overpass.
That's smart against Flipside.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's see how this one's going to go. The Valve's patented randometer is doing its magic. And there we go. So it's going to be Overpass. I think it's the first time we've seen it this tournament, right? So we haven't had an Overpass game yet. So this is interesting. Let's talk about Overpass and these two teams on it. Do you think this slightly favors Flipside, I should say?
I think Flipside's going to win this match. I thought it before anyway. I think the map's a good one for them. I would have been a little bit more questionable on Cobble. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I think this is the right map for them. I think they're going to win this game.
Okay, well, you've heard Duncan's thoughts. Gentlemen, you're the...
I believe Flipside's going to win it as well. I just don't have any confidence in mousesports, and I think this map as well. You notice when this map gets played, the kind of how it's played recently is these. It's a map that lends itself to teams having their duelists, where you have your really good player who's wonderful in one-on-ones, either lurks out towards that long A, or holds off any kind of B aggression from the defense, and he takes those one-on-one battles later on in the round when he feels rotations have gone away. And I think you look at the specialists on mousesports, those star players that we already discussed, not living up to their name, not living up to the hype around them. I think that is going to lend itself to Flipside taking it.
Yeah, if mousesports want any chance at all, they've got to have players show up. That, like we were saying, but Chris J, I think it's specific on this map where it needs to be really dynamic and fast with the AWP. I think for Flipside, one of the things we talked about with Simple leaving, a guy like World Edit has to step up huge with the op, and Bondic's been reliable for them. I think on that alone, that they don't need as much one player to step out like mousesports does, and I think that lends the game more comfortably to Flipside. So I do actually have to favor them. This morning I said I thought mousesports, but I think Flipside have a good chance.
Let's talk about World Edit, because he strikes me as something of an enigma. He seems wildly inconsistent, yet even when he's playing bad, he'll have this one round where he'll just do something it beggars belief.
When this current Flipside roster was formed, I actually was really excited by World Edit. I think he was the player that was hurt the most from playing with Simple, because he was forced off the AWP a lot. He never got to play the positions he wanted. Simple was always grabbing wherever he was playing, and I felt like it kind of stifled him a lot. I think now that Simple's gone, I think he should return to form. At least I'm hoping. Well, I mean, he's got the potential.
He's had the open in his hands recently, and I still think he's been a bit inconsistent. He's obviously got a high ceiling, but players that frustrate me are the ones that can't find a consistent level. I'd rather take someone who's going to be consistently above average than someone that's going to fluctuate from being
Cajun B,
below average.
In this case.
Exactly. Moses, some thoughts about World Edit?
I think we just need to see more of him now that Simple's gone. I mean, it's just more of this team. They need to do better as a squad. I think World Edit individually hasn't really shown us everything it can. Like we've all said, we've seen flashes of it. It just comes down to that. Is he going to bring it on these big stages in these big games? So that's kind of what we need to see out of him today.
Obviously, looking at the mousesports lineup there, it's incredible to me to look at that lineup, to think about the talent that's on that roster, and we're really talking about them as if they're like another also ran here at the majors. Surely we've got a course correct.
The thing is, what can win this series for mousesports isn't just like a player gone crazy. Actually, God B could win this series, because when I think of the two different players The thing about Blade is he's very good in-game leader in terms of design a tactic, explain how a tactic's going to win, decide what someone's position is within the tactic, what order they'll go in, but he's extremely regimented like that. Like I heard from Hiko when he played with Flipside at ESWC, like that Blade rather literally has like the map is divided into quadrants that are numbered, and he used this code. But the thing is, he has a very set style. He's not like an adaptive in-game leader like that. GodB's whole style for his whole career is predicated on reading the opponent and then changing the tactic to fit the opponent. So if GodB can win the mind game, that can give Mouse a chance. I just don't think that's going to happen, and I don't see his stars at the moment. So I'm going to go with Flipside's regimented, consistent style to win out.
Well, we've got our featured matchup ready to go. Now, obviously, it's the man from the movie, Markelov. And we picked Nico. We picked him yesterday, the new kid on the block. This is a guy who was on the subs bench at mousesports, had to sit there watching other players take his spot. Meanwhile, he's getting loaned out to teams like G2 and going absolutely ham, dropping 30 bombs at LAN, going crazy. Finally gets his time in the spotlight for mousesports. How impressive has he been? Because obviously on yesterday's performance, didn't do a great deal.
He was really impressive when he first joined the team. It's kind of like that stereotypical honeymoon period where when he first started playing, there were multiple matches where everyone was just like, oh my God, this guy's going to bring mousesports to the next level. But once again, he comes to these tournaments and he doesn't get there. He doesn't reach that critical point where he just carries them.
Yeah, online tournaments don't impress me. I don't care how many times you drop 40 kills or you get a sick
Shania Shields in.
Go to a big tournament like this, the ones that I watch, and perform well. If you don't, shut up, you're not a star player.
Brutal.
No, I agree with what you were saying, and something we talked about with Cloud9 as well, where players come in, they do have that swan song, and then pressure gets applied, they don't have the experience, they kind of get forced into a role, and I think Nico's, again, a player that does have potential. I think that he could go absolutely nuts, but it's only, even when it was going nuts, it was very rarely like an entire game. It'd be like 6 or 7 rounds and then he'd go quiet again, so we'll see. This tournament for me will define him, I think, and if he could step up in this game, then maybe I'll start to lend credit like you're saying.
See, to tie it in thematically, on mousesports, Next is still the one for me.
Yeah, that's very good. I'm depressed at myself that I get that reference. But anyway, so
well, guilty pleasures, mate. Some people are Nico fans.
So let's talk about Nexto. Obviously, I don't want to dwell too much on it. We don't have all the facts at the moment, but I will introduce it to the narrative anyway. Seems that there is maybe 1 or 2 sick players on mousesports.
No sick players on mousesports. Oh, right, yeah, ill
players. So apparently Nex is under the weather and struggling a little bit. So, I mean, is it
grab a tissue and start playing?
Yeah, well, okay. Like, how much sympathy do we lend, I guess?
Look, I saw nothing at ESWC. Absolutely boiling over, overheating with an ice bag on his head, and played one of the best games I've seen him play on LAN all year. So I'm not going to let it be an excuse in this case. I'm sorry. You got to focus it. Sometimes it can be actually better, because sometimes you're so, like, just distraught. When you're sick, like you're sitting at home, and all you want to do is just get over it. You want to focus in on something, get a job done, and get out of there. Like going hungover to work, for example. You just want to get it.
I know nothing about that.
You dangerous topic right now.
You just really want to get the job done and get out of there. So sometimes you actually hyper-focus in that case. Do what you've got to do. No excuses, no side attractions. Get out of there and go. And I think that's what nothing did.
So in short, if Sadikis can work drunk at a major, there you go. Come on, get it together, Next. You can bang a few heads off. I've seen you do it before.
Exactly.
He's
9 to 5.
It was the most relatable.
Okay. You hear that, Valve? Okay. He's wrecked right now. He's not. But anyway, your thoughts on this as well, Moses?
No sympathy. I mean, you're sick, but this is a major. It's time to go.
Yeah, I couldn't
Load
agree
yourself
more.
up and let's just get on with it.
So, I mean, look, I guess all of this doom and gloom around mousesports, is anyone going to come out and bat for mousesports? We've got 2 Flipside people in. Moses, it's on you, I guess. I mean...
No, I'm taking Flipside.
Wow.
I think, yeah, I mean, there's the possibility that mousesports can win. I just don't have faith. I don't have confidence in what they've been bringing to the table recently. And GodB could have an excellent game calling. I think that's going to be crucial. That's the one surefire way. That and Chris J going off, but I mean, if Chris J doesn't go off, then GodB has to be able to neutralize the players on Flipside, not through his star players being really, really strong, but through the tactics, through, putting them in positions where they don't have to get 25 kills, 3-kill rounds. Just put them in spots where they can take these bomb sites and win with the fundamentals, protect the retakes.
So the follow-on question from this is, let's say you're all right, okay? So we got 3 people calling for Flipside here. Is it a disaster for mousesports if they go out? Do they need to start thinking about roster changes?
I mean, I just said I still didn't. It's not that Flipside did something excellent, and now they're no longer one of the teams I thought they should go out. No, I still don't think they have a chance to get out of this group. Just that mousesports are so dire. I think in the last few months, it's been a long time since they did anything impressive or matched up offline with the top teams. They've been on this slump downhill. Nico was supposed to be the panacea. He was supposed to cure all of that, put everyone in the right position. That never happened. In fact, they're looking just as worse. If they're looking just as bad, if not worse right now.
So we've got about 45 seconds before we get into the game. Quick, rough scores. We all know you've picked Flipside.
Yep. Oh, you mean I can't go backwards like
no,
I did last time?
No, you can't. No,
okay.
No backtracking.
I'm going to say 16. I'm going to go low on mousesports. I'm going to say 16-9.
16-9.
16-11, 16-12.
Dunk.
I'll go 16-8.
Okay, right. Well, that's obviously with Sadakis, we've all got a bet riding on it for a drink or two, right? Anyway, thanks a lot for your thoughts, gentlemen.
Of water, right?
Without any further ado, let's get into this. It's the second game of the second day at the Major. It's going to be mousesports versus Flipside. Take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm DD joined by Robin, Fifth Lauren. Hello, how's it going?
Yo, I'm good.
It's a nice
I'm
start
so
to the day.
happy. I'm so happy, Dan. First of all, obviously I get to cast with you, but on top of that, we're not gonna see Cobblestone.
That's true, actually. Yeah, I was kind of rooting for Mirage with this matchup because I love Flipside's Mirage, but we're still gonna get an even better map because I think the overpass between the two teams is gonna be much closer.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think this is a good matchup for both of the teams. I'm actually quite surprised though. Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to put it out there because I think that Richard might get a tweet or two about Next being the one under the weather. It's actually Dennis. I was the one who told him it was Next. Because I just
you. You.
Yeah, so just believe him anyway. I don't care.
All right. Guys, we're into the pistol now between these two teams. It looks like we have a fast round on our hands. We've got mousesports immediately taking Suez and just, actually now that I say that, just holding a little bit, seeing if they can get a response. And in they go, nades in, Glocks in. Can they close that distance? We've got Chris J with the opening onto Davkos there. Next is on the bomb site, but there's still a lot more work to be done here as these CTs go for this retake. But the positioning here is going to be really favorable for mousesports. They'll get the bomb planted. The smoke's down on jungle as well to really hinder that entrance from Flipside. It's going to take something quite special here, and Blade will open things up with that frag onto Chris J. 3 versus 4 now is what Flipside are looking at as they start to make their way onto the bomb site. Next with a great response there, Godby as well. And this looks fantastic right now. Just Markloff, the man left alive, and he won't get it done. Next, we'll find the frag. 3 kills there in the pistol for him, and mousesports will start off well.
Yeah, I really like the fast play coming in from mousesports on the pistol. Just waited a little bit just to hit the B-bomb side, just in case Flipside decides to push. Maybe they had like an expo flash. Just took their little time, like 6 seconds, and then just ended up pushing. Flipside, it looked to me like they were trying to go with like somewhat of a retake kind of positioning, but then they had one guy that just got caught off guard completely, and he just ended up dying. So, and next with a nice triple kill.
Yeah, now we're looking at that situation where Flipside are not investing fully. What it is obviously saving for that AWP, but the rest of his teammates have actually got some Kevlar, some pistols here, looking to put the aggression on and get some damage done economically. And Nico's going to go down by himself at Suez, so he was kind of there to maybe be able to run into B, check for a stack, but now that Mac 10's out of the picture and it's in the hands of Blade. And so Flipside actually looking like they're off to a good start.
Yeah, look at the rotation coming from Flipside as well. Because of the fact that Nico went down, Blade, he has full control of B bomb site, and then Flipside just ends up rotating, falling back towards the A bomb site. And this could be very, very troublesome for mousesports if they do decide to just end up going towards A.
Yeah, and one thing that's kind of cool as well is that, well, not cool for mousesports, but they don't have any eyes on connector, so they don't really know if they wanted to double back. They don't know that they can actually do that, or if there's a flank coming at all. So this could be very troublesome indeed. They have to make this work here towards A. And next is trying to get the opening. There's a nade into bank, and there's some damage done. Here goes the rest of mousesports to try to capitalize here, but the stack is here. The nades will help massively, but will it be enough here? We've got next in, nice frag onto Bondic, and it looks like the CTs are indeed quite stuck behind these smokes at the moment, so mousesports will get the bomb planted. They can fall back to toilets as well, get some good post-plant setups working in their favor, and it looks like Flipside are in a lot of trouble. Even though they've got 4 players left alive, they're going to make their way in now, but Next is there with the AK, and there's more rifles where that came from. Oh, great spray down there. Just Markloff remaining now.
Yeah, nothing he can do here. He only has a 50-50. was a pretty decent round anyway from mousesports, ending up when Nico fell towards the B-bomb side in the beginning. I was just going to put him or call him out for it because there's no reason why you should just go that aggressive. You want to go towards the B-bomb side and just hold just to make sure the flip side doesn't push you, so you actually have somewhat of a flank, right? But then instead, you end up going down, you give them a weapon, and you have no map control whatsoever. But nonetheless, you know, next one, you know, again, for me, Nex is by far mousesports' best player. Just showing there, even though it was Nico, you know, saving them around.
Yeah, and he's already got 8 frags and a cheeky little ace there, and that's a good start for your star player. Now, Dennis is going to make his way in first man, then Nex is going to go in for support, and Chris J as well. Big push onto that B-bomb site, but looks like they've run into the stack, and these pistols are doing a lot of work here for Flipside. They've got a couple kills. That's going to be it, though, as Nico will get 3 kills there with the UMP, so he's going to save the round for mousesports, and now Flipside, they can go for the buy.
Yeah, that previous round there, normally this what happens with teams. They have some sort of a mindset where it's like, okay, well, we went A the previous eco, let's just go B now. You know, it's like, oh yeah, let's do 50-50. And then for the defenders, they just like, okay, well, they went A, let's just stack B. Always happens, right? It could have actually ended up a lot worse for mousesports that round.
Oh yeah.
Sure, you know, Nico with the triple kill with SMG just got a few more dollar signs in his bank, but yeah, it could have ended up much worse.
Yeah, and I mean, mousesports, I think they're going to be fairly happy. Just they're sitting on a pretty good economy. If they're able to do some more damage in this round, then even if they lose, they should be in a decent spot, as they should get a strong buy in the following round. So we'll have to see what kind of approach we've got here, because it's looking quite slow. So mousesports giving a lot of respect for Flipside at the moment. Yeah,
I really do like that though. Just to, you know, take your time. Just make sure they don't push you, because I'm fairly sure that they know that Warladder will actually be able to afford the offense, which is completely correct. So
that was pretty scary. Nico almost getting a frag there. Very, very scary indeed. Blade almost losing his life. But here is a bit of an approach now from mousesports, getting just a little bit closer towards the A-bomb site. There is a player, of course, able to support. I think it's Bondic actually is very close there on the A-long area. So if Wada is kind of baiting on that AWP, if he misses a shot, and I think they can gain some ground, could get punished by Bondic. Wada will make his way out of there. But meanwhile, mousesports have switched up the play here. They're going towards B, through connector, into sewers. Chris J's going to find that frag onto Bondic, and all of a sudden, Flipside are in a lot of trouble here. Davkos is in a very important position by the water. Mokl's there for support as well. Can they hold this big B push? There are the frags starting to come in here for the CTs. Mousesports needs something in response, and they're getting nothing. It's just Nico and Godby left at this point, as Davkos waits by water, trying to time his moment to strike. There's the bomb plant, though. And things not looking too shabby here, actually, for mousesports, despite being down a man. However, these positions are not optimal. Davkos will finally go for the peak. Just toying, just playing with them, trying to create distraction. It's working really well at the moment. Godby is under so much pressure right now. Not sure where to look. Godby is going to find that angle finally. And now the CT swarm the bomb site. And Nico's got to get 3 kills here to save this round for mousesports. And he goes. There's the first. Can he get the second? He will find it. That's the... Oh, no, the defuse is just gone now. And there's no time for this. Wada's got no health as well. Nico's going to save this round for his team.
Oh wow. My God, no.
4 kills out of Nico. What a save.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that was looking extremely grim for mousesports there for a second. Just when they were pushing into the B bomb site, you know, Chris J had complete A control, and you know, they didn't really get a payout for actually hitting the bomb site, and Flipside just kept on getting the picks. 2-on-4 situation, and Davkos actually, he was down in the pit towards B. He could just easily, when they start planning, just go on and kill the bomb. Yeah. He never peaked.
I was wondering about
why.
That.
Yeah, and just gave mousesports an action opportunity to win the round. And then you see there Nico, you know, great round by him, 1-on-3. And yeah, it's that's one of the rounds that Flipside is gonna be very upset about when they go back and watch the demo.
Yeah, it puts them in a pretty rough position. They've got to wait till that the 5-0 until they can start to fight back again. And this is a nice kind of anti-eco approach here from mousesports. They're sticking together, moving up towards A-long, can get your back against the wall, be quite safe against those pistols. So a cool approach here from mousesports.
Yeah, and it's very safe. So now you see mousesports anti-eco now. You don't actually have Nico just rushing towards the B and just getting picked off. He's actually with the group and just playing it a lot safer now, which is great.
Yeah, this is always nice to see.
Oh no, just as I say that, okay. It's fine, it's fine, okay. Just as I say, you don't have to run down there, Nico. There's nothing there for you.
Hey man, that's what he's built to do. He's built to run in there. Pants on head, run in.
I like it.
Nico.
I mean, oh, is that the
Pants on
slogan?
head Nico.
Is that the slogan?
I'm coining it right now. Pants on head Nico.
Trademark it.
So here we go. Markov might get a sneaky kill with that PT50 would be nice. Any economic damage is good. But one thing I really like about this is just seeing that mousesports can really stick together and kind of play off each other in a coordinated manner for an anti-eco. It's like the most important round to win in the game. You can, those 5 rounds are hard. But you got to capitalize. You got to, convert those anti-eco rounds.
Yeah, it's very important, like you're saying. And they have actually done a pretty decent job at it so far. I mean, both the ecos that they've had, they only lost 1 and 2 members. So just basing off of their economy, even if they end up losing 1-2 rounds, they can still end up buying. So it's looking good so far.
And here we go, mousesports just full AKs. We've got a quick connector take there from Blade just to apply some pressure and make sure that you have a good understanding as the CTs, as to where the Ts are actually going. But once again, mousesports taking a relatively passive approach to the round, giving some respect to Flipside and any potential aggression they may want to throw in. And it could be a bit of an issue here with this AWP, playing those angles towards the party area. Here we go, mousesports just using some grenades to try to push just slowly but surely. So good play so far from both sides, I would say. But Nex is the one to open up here in sewers onto Blade.
Yeah, so far Nex has been terrific for the first 5.5 rounds. And
this could be that pants on head moment from Nico. You know he wants to go in there.
Yeah.
You know he wants to go in. It's like, should I do it?
Yeah,
should I do it?
I can't see anyone. I really want to take a look. Just a little sneak peek.
But looks like his team's going to get the call here, just moving towards A. And the trade happens for Godbeat, so the in-game leader is down. But it's a pretty nice situation, 4 versus 3 here for the Ts. They know they just have to attack together, and now they move in as a unit towards that A bomb site. Bondik is there, and he's got a great position, actually. And he's going to find the first frag onto Chris J. There's no return. That's the bomb as well. So the information goes to his team. Shot in the side of the head. And Nex finds the kill onto Markov as well. So the bomb site is now under control here for mousesports. As Davkos makes his way in up the stairs. And he's got a hell of a lot of work to do. And he's going to get smoked off. This is just not happening. Going to have to fall back out of there. And just hope he can get some cheeky exits.
Yeah, and I mean, mousesports might as well just throw it around the way as well. Just decide to push. Now, this is the point where, for the remaining 2 mousesports players, they shouldn't even do anything. He can still potentially win this round. Yeah, there's still time left on the bomb, and look at where Nex is.
Yeah, a little bit of a...
Davkos actually didn't have a kit, but I do believe Bondik had one on the bomb. Yeah, you see there's actually a diffuse kit on the bomb side as well. So that could have actually ended up way worse than what it actually was. Flipside actually decided to take a gamble there. They had 3 members left and just decided to have Bondik all by himself on the A-bomb side and just have the other 2 remaining players towards the B-bomb side. And mousesports called it once more, and they're playing really well right now.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, as I'm a Brit, when I say pants on head, I mean under on head. None of this American, pants. I'm not talking about jeans or something. Just have to clarify that. As a proud Brit, you're confused. You're Swedish. It's fine.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
It's fine. All right, so we do have the...
You gotta talk IKEA to me, Dan.
Talk IKEA?
How it works.
Svenska.
Yeah.
All right, so the pistols are out again for Flipside. Of course, having to save. So it's not really a good start for them, let's be honest. They've got a really horrible situation getting consistently just having to eco. Mousesports in a prime position when it comes to the money at this point. Well, actually, that said, looking at that money, it's not amazing.
I mean, you do have Nex on AK, and but yeah, it's only Chris J that actually is kind of low on money, but he decided to buy an op, and that's why it's dangerous as well. When you do have the bomb down, you want to chase obviously, because when you're 5-0 up, you want to just make sure that you don't let them save any weapons. But yeah, as for Flipside now, one thing for mousesports on their T side so far is that they've been playing really safe and they've been playing really defensive. So even if Flipside were to mix something up right now, let's try and go aggressive. Well, the thing is, it's not like mousesports actually done anything fast. So if you do decide to go aggressive, they're just going to be there waiting for you. So that's actually not a good idea.
Yeah, actually, that's the cool thing I've noticed as well, is that mousesports kind of getting it done with their default rounds, which are fairly safe. It's like we're going to try to flash ourselves into position. We'll see actually a couple frags coming in from Davkos here, but we'll be shut down. And that's actually nice economic damage, just kind of keeping them honest, because again, as we said, mousesports don't have the best economy in the world. It could be a lot better considering that they're 7-0 up. So Flipside, they want to get themselves into a situation where they're forcing ecos, where they're resetting the economy of mousesports. But here it is, AWP in play now from World Edit, and they've got a good buy. What can they do with it?
Yeah, that's the question. But because so far you've actually seen Flipside just start off exactly the same on almost every single round. You have Bondic and World Edit, you know, towards the mid area. He is actually going aggressive now a little bit. Got flash though, so he's gonna fall back towards play defense on the A-bomb side. But yeah, so far, very generic play from Flipside coming in, and you know, being 7-0 down, they do need to think of, you know, perhaps even take the pause now and talk about it.
That's actually a very good point. This would actually be an excellent moment for a pause, especially considering that on the CT side, you do expect to get like a pretty decent amount of rounds, to be honest, maybe even a bit more than the T side. Either way, got Nico, he's just going for these challenges again. This is what he's there for, just taking those angels and opening up the map, creating opportunity, and there it is. That's the fragment of Dav cost. We can see the rotation coming in from mousesports as Gobby makes the call to his team. Let's go for that B push now that Nico's weakened the site, weakened the defense. He's going to take another entry frag. Nico has done more than his fair share at this point as the rest of his teammates barrage the bomb site with bullets, with grenades, and they are setting themselves up next with another frag. This is looking incredibly grim right now for Flipside. The bomb is down. Well did it. It's going to find God, but now mousesports can just hide away a little bit.
Yeah, and one thing for Flipside, Nico gets to walk towards the B area every single round, and Flipside's not doing anything about it. And he keeps on getting the picks. Like there needs to be some sort of like communication there for Flipside. It's like, okay, what is Nico doing? He keeps on getting the entry on us towards the B bomb side. Well, yeah, he's coming out, you know, either through door or through the sewer area, you know, from T spawn. Like, okay, so have you tried to push him? You know, what are you trying to do to just make sure that this doesn't happen? Oh, you know, we're just playing it defensive on the B bomb side. Okay,
yeah.
So he can just rush up and kill you. Yeah,
Suez take, man. We see that, right?
Yeah,
Suez takes.
Yeah, they haven't seen
a good
that yet. You know, smoke from CT spawn and just rush it. You know, throw one flashbang over and just make sure he's not allowed to get there. Because look at him again, Nico, just playing so aggressive.
Oh no, oh no, this could be bad. He's past the smoke. He's going to take down Davkos. The trade comes in, but still, mousesports are loving that.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, this is the classic, like the default run you see from mousesports as well. If Flipside have somewhat of an idea, then they should actually know now that, you know, perhaps they don't have anyone more there, so they can actually try to take a gamble like they did on the pistol round and just fall back, or on the eco round. Sorry.
All right, well, I mean, mousesports, they're deciding to just go for a bit of a pressure towards, perhaps even the execute. Let's see what they can get done. They have a lot of time actually to play with, so they can even, they don't have anyone in sewers, so the double back potential is not really open to them. Well, I guess it is, but it would be blind, so not necessarily too advisable. So they do seem right now quite committed towards this A push.
Yeah, but I really like the rotation coming in from Flipside here. So you do have the kind of same scenario. Now Blade is actually falling back again, though. He was really close to the A bomb side.
It's definitely harder to retake A than B, so it would make a lot of sense in this situation of unknowns. And what it is, playing very close to this smoke. He's going to spot the shadow through smoke. Oh, he does finally get the kill with the last bullet onto Dennis. Bondic picks up one on the defense against Chris J. In goes next over the train. He's got to do everything by himself. Blade is down. There's 15 seconds to play with. And next, they're not going to show themselves. 1 versus 3. He's got no HP. 1 point of health is left. He'll find the kill onto World Edit somehow, but still, Markov and Bondic are there. Next, no, absolutely not. He's going to find Bondic. Markov will finally just run the clock down and finish off next, but that was so much economic damage. That should never have happened.
Yeah, and I think we changed the camera angle there. When Nex was actually in a one-on-one, there was like 2 seconds left. He could potentially have won the round. But yeah, okay, yeah, so you guys at home know, he actually ended up getting killed after the time as ended by Bondic. But yeah, that was close. Next.
That was ridiculous. I mean, he got like 2 or 3 more frags than he ever should have gotten in that round. He's on 20 kills.
Yeah, after 9 rounds. And I mean, then you see as well, we were talking about Dennis, you know, having, you know, issues with tonsillitis, and, you know, he's not really having a good game, which is understandable. But for sure, like, I wouldn't really want to be sitting there playing when I don't feel good. We do have a technical pause here, though, coming in.
Okay, well, we can talk a little bit about some of the strategy in this match.
Yeah, I was going to say, with this technical pause, this is perfect for Flipside. It's basically like a free timeout for them. You know, they just ended up winning their first round of the game. Now they can actually just take some time and talk about, okay, well, what are they actually doing? Like, what can we do to counter them right now? Or like, what are we doing bad? What can we do better? And then on top of that, so you have a free timeout now. And let's say you talk about it, and I don't know, in 4 rounds or whatever, or even switching over to their T side, they can have another one.
And let's think about firstly, like, what do they actually have right now? Because those series of frags from Next were ridiculous, right? That actually cripples them massively, because now they've got no money, even though they won the round.
Just look at the money. Yeah, like you're saying, they won a round, but all of them died except for one, and they're all sitting between 3.3 to 3.9K.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Best case, you got FAMAS in your hands.
If you want the nades, yeah. So then, you know, on top of that, let's say you do end up losing this one round, then you're potentially just gonna go and earn some money on the streets. You know, you're not gonna be able to pay that mortgage, and then you're gonna have to. I mean,
have you ever done any busking? Busking, you know, on the streets. I know you're musically talented. Oh, you don't know what it means?
No.
It's like, you know, when you go on the streets playing a musical instrument, just for money, well, not necessarily for money, but it's like, you know, practice on the streets. See if people like you.
Oh, is that what people do to make money on the streets?
Yeah, you play some instruments. Although you can also play traffic cones. I've seen people playing traffic cones in London. It's very common. Very common. But actually, one of the interesting things in this situation, because, you know, we're talking about this money problem, because this is a really huge, like, Nexus kills there, that changes a lot of what Flipsid can actually do. And we were talking about the Suez thing. It does feel like Nico is the thing that you should be able to maybe exploit, because he's the fastest paced player. So and as you mentioned, we haven't really seen the Suez takes, and that's what has been abused by mousesports. Flipsid seem kind of comfortable going for sometimes into connector, sometimes down toilets and so on. But we've never really seen him in Suez, and that would be the obvious aggression for them to try to take control and get a fast frag, and then maybe fall back afterwards. Yeah,
and it's actually a very safe, aggressive play as well, because you smoke it off, and you only need to take that one area, and it's not like you can get shot from multiple angles, because the only thing you need to be sure of is, you know, okay, we got to keep track of the door, and then once we have that smoked off, the sewer area smoked off, then we're pretty much safe, and then we just show them that, yeah, we are here to contest the area. Whereas if you, for example, if you're Flipside and you want to go aggressive on A, you know, you end up peeking mid, then you can get shot from both sewers, and you will just end up getting flanked, essentially, if mousesports has a decent default. So just going aggressive B every single time until mousesports have an answer for it, that's what you want to do, because you saw Nico there, he ended up going to the sewer, but last round he just ended up going towards the B bomb right away, and that just shows that Flipside, they're not contesting anything, so it just lets Nico roam around as much as he wants, and you can't really let that happen.
I mean, the only other thing that they could do other than that is going really passive and not taking risks and forcing mousesports to execute onto the site. But then the problems is that you don't have very good equipment. Sure, you'll have some nades to maybe counter flash and so on, but generally speaking, they're going to have way more grenades because they didn't spend all the grenades cleaning out the map and slowly building positioning. So they get that for free because of your chosen strategy. So then the problem is that you have to hold a FAMAS, and then and you don't know what's going on. And I mean, we did see some good understanding of rotation from Flipside before, when they were like, okay, we're a man down, we can't take a risk. We feel like we can't take a risk aggressively. We're going to kind of stack towards A. Although I don't know that they actually end up doing it, but that's in theory quite good because B is much easier to retake than A. A is a nightmare.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, especially if you don't have map control. So if you do decide to stack B, you want to at least make sure that you have the door room, the connector area, so you can actually at least flank. Because if you can't flank and you all come from CT spawn, then it's almost impossible.
When it comes to just like these teams on paper at the moment, which do you think has more potential? Because people do talk about the simple factor with Flipside previously, but it also basically hindered Blaze's ability to lead the team, and that's what he's a legend at. That's what he's really known for. And so now potentially maybe we could see him take this team to new heights, even without Simple, just because he's such a good leader. Do you think that's something that Flipside can rely on, or do you think mousesports have more potential as a team? Because they do have a lot of skill on that team.
Yeah, I mean, just to base both teams coming into the tournament, I would say that mousesports have been looking better. To base it off of their 2 games yesterday, I think that both teams looked very sloppy, and they could do a lot better with the talent that they have. So overall, I still feel like mousesports they have the better team, whereas for Flipside, they could cause an upset.
Right, they're there to ruin someone's tournament, but not to do all that much more than that.
No, exactly, and especially now for yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at mousesports lineup, the 2 players that stands out for me, it used to be Chris J, but I don't really feel that he has too much of an impact anymore. He's still a solid player, but from time to time especially I remember last time I casted mousesports on this map, I don't think Chris J picked up the op a single time. a single time, and it's like, yeah, and it was a game where they were losing heavily, and I was just basically waiting on Chris J to pick up. It never happened. But you know, the two players is Next and Nico, they're really good.
And here we go. We're resuming the match now, and we'll get to see what the response is from Flipside. Looks like they are kind of going for a bit of a foray into Suez, so they have some control here. But will it actually pan out for them?
There we go.
Markloff picks up the kill onto Nico. That's exactly what we were looking for in the response from Flipside. Now they've got that man advantage. They can play off the advantage in many ways.
Yeah, you see there, like when they get to the entry now, look at the map control they have. They do have 3 guys on the B bomb side. That's okay because they have the control. So if mousesports were to hit A on that in this scenario, they at least have the room to flank, which they haven't really had before.
That's a really good point actually, and we'll have to see if Flipside can close, because when all is said and done, it's got to be about those headshots. And right now we see all the grenades raining in onto the A bomb site. So mousesports really going for the committed play here. They've used up pretty much all the utility, moving Next in very, very close now. And here it is, Bondik with the first kill onto Dennis. Next still waiting for somebody to peek. Great stuff there from Bondik though. He's going to take down Next for free. Got B and Chris J though back in with frags of their own. But Bondik is still locking it down, but not for much longer. Chris J with 11 points of health is going to get naded down by Markloff. And that is going to be a pretty solid hold from Flipside. They do lose 3 players, but at least they close the round and they can start to create some momentum back into this one. And mousesports starting to struggle on the money a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, look at it this way. If Markloff didn't get that entry on Nico, then you're in a situation where if mousesports were to hit A, like in a 5 versus 5, they still have 1 member to fight, right? And I don't think they would be able to hold it. So just getting that entry on Nico, just making sure that they don't have that B control, just does so much for them. Even though, yeah, they end up losing players, they ended up winning the round.
Yeah, and I absolutely would not count Flipside out of this one, because now they've got some money going in their favor. They've got a round to play against, but they should have been reading the economy of mousesports, so they should be anticipating what's happening. We can see they're playing pretty passively, so that does definitely show that they're respecting the kind of buy that mousesports are showing right now. Just that single AK on Gob, actually, interestingly, and not on somebody like Next, which would be the surprise for me, as the Next is definitely arguably the best rifler there with Nico, as previously pointed out. And that's a fantastic little flick there onto Next, straight away off the bat. And there goes Chris J as well. Well did it, doing his job. Great play here with that AWP. And finally he's going to get eliminated by God B. Bondik, though, is there by that truck area. He just wants to hold them off it and buy his team some more space to rotate. He's going to go down, though, to God B. Bit of a fluff nade there, and God B's actually getting it done here. The bomb's going to get planted. Nico misses the AWP shot, but it might not matter, actually. Oh, my God. They actually end up winning that round. mousesports, it looked like it was going horrendously, but then when Bondik went down, all the cards started falling.
Yeah, World Edit with 2 great entry frags there. The problem for him was that he was completely stuck, and Bondik was just playing it way too safe on the bomb, so you couldn't really help him there. You see here, the 2 frags from World Edit. Here, this one he needs to back up. Instead, he decides to stay and just hope that, you know, they're not coming both ways, and Bondik was just holding it, right?
Yeah,
so then,
it's like just set up there. It didn't seem like it was they were playing together at all.
Yeah, no, not exactly. And for Flipside, you know, forced on a save yet again, they have basically no money, so I think that they should just take your advice, Dan, and go and play some music on the streets.
Yeah, this is pretty much the worst thing that could have happened. Oh my goodness. They're going to have to do something quite desperate as well, because, you know, mousesports, they should likely pick up this round. Then they're in a 10-2 situation, and Flipside, they still... Well, I mean, what's their money actually going to look like?
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty, Dan.
Yeah, they're going to be on... They'll be able to buy, but like...
Famas, if they want the nades, you know, yeah. Want the nades and stuff, you know, Famas probably don't, you know, for teams like these, they shouldn't even buy head armor anyway, so you save 350 there, which is basically a smoke grenade, which is something that can really save you around.
Oh dear. I mean, previously they found a solution in taking Suez, getting the, like, basically beating Nico in that battle as he was moving into position. And I mean, they still haven't. They could try the hyper passive approach. I don't know that that's going to be good against mousesports. I think mousesports have been showing that they can really, like, you need to like waste their grenades and make their executes a little bit worse. I think that seems to be something mousesports are quite strong at. They've proven that they can successfully pick up these site takes with the executes. So here we go. Flipside with the buy. What's it going to be? Aggression, passivity.
I mean, just for them to try it, because right now, yeah, they only won 2 rounds. They are playing it very defensive. At least take a gamble. You don't have to necessarily go aggressive, but maybe just, you know, like boost up in middle with the 2 people over the window towards the bathroom area. Have 1 guy holding along, so you have like 3 members stacked within the bathroom area just to hold off mousesports. And then same scenario there. If they end up, you know, pushing B, then you can flank. We haven't seen Flipside try to flank a single round. And then for mousesports, you know, they only have to look straight, right? They don't really have to care about, you know, oh, is someone coming from behind? Oh no, they're not. So then it just gives them so much more opportunities to actually end up winning the round because they have less to focus on.
Yeah, the flanking thing is actually kind of a big deal. There's a Virtus Pro are a team that usually find that to be very effective. They're really good at doing that. It's quite hard to find those timings, but if you've got those kinds of players, it is devastating. And Flipside, they are going very vanilla with their approach and trying to trust in their basics, but so far has not been delivering. Got Next here with a bit of pressure as he's going to throw the nades over, allow his teammates to get in from Monster Tunnel into that B bomb site. mousesports with another bomb site take. And again, we're seeing them just systematically, methodically executing into the bomb site, clearing spot after spot, using these grenades, moving in as a team, covering each other. This is good counter-strike out of the German side as we've got Flipside moving in for the retake. It's definitely a little bit easier, as we mentioned, but this is going to be a tough one. They're outgunned, and now they're outmanned. Great kill there from Next on the defense, holding it down, forcing the CTs to go closer because of those smokes. This is another well-executed round here from mousesports. Oh dear, this is not looking good for Flipside.
Yeah, they're playing really well right now, actually. Just having that one strat, just walking into B basically as far as you can. And when you know that, okay, we can't really walk any further now, let's just use our nades. Through 2 or 3 Molotovs on during the B water behind the bomb site, just making sure that they can't even rush up and try to defend the site. So then you actually have to play retake, even if you didn't want to. Getting the bomb down, great hold. And you saw Dennis just making a lot of noise in middle. He actually ended up getting 1, and then it kept World at it, just stuck in CT spawn until Dennis actually pushed. So he was very late to even help out his teammates over to the B bomb site.
Absolutely. This is going to be a really nice feeling for mousesports because, you know, of course, Dennis is a little bit poorly at the moment and he's ill. And mousesports, they've not been having the best games. They had a series against G2 yesterday, or a map against G2, and that definitely looked like they were out of their comfort zone. But right now, it really feels like they're hitting their stride as a team. That's so important to get those good feels going in. And we'll see a faster round here as Chris J is going to look for that entry of the AWP. He's going to go for the flick. He's going to miss it, and the counter flash is going to start to come into play here for Flipside. So they have opportunity now. They just have to hit the shots, and there's World with the first one. He's going to take down Next. Put him out of the equation, and Nico, now it's up to him by the sandbags area to try to find some more space for his team to move through onto this bomb site take.
That Molotov though, they're all stuck in there.
This is very interesting right now. Nico will take down Markloff, but the water position could be dangerous, but not to Nico. Takes down Davkost as well, and it's just Bondik and Blade. They've only got P250s, and the bomb is going to go down. There's Chris J as well. Bondik, no Kevlar, just the pistol. Chris J with that Tech 9 over the top. Trying to find the kill, and a lot of damage being done here by Bondik actually, but finally the Tech 9 and the AK combo will be enough. 12-2 the score now. Massive T-half on overpass from mousesports.
Yeah, like I said, they're playing so well right now, and for Flipside, they seem a little bit out of it. Not really for the past few rounds, not really had the economy on their side. Sure, they haven't had the economy on their side throughout the whole game, but you know, winning one round and then end up losing the next one, and it just makes the economy so hard to manage, and you have to make a decision if you want to buy what you have with the money you have, or potentially end up saving one more round, which you can't really afford in this situation. So yeah, I feel for Flipside, but you have to actually try to do something new here.
Absolutely, and you know, mousesports going with another just take of map control. Positioning, Flipside, they're a bit more passive than usual. They have gone for the sewers take, so we see that adjustment is still there for them. However, this time Nico's not going ham in towards sewers and towards Monster Tunnel. He's sticking with the team, sticking with the unit. He's actually moving towards the A-long area, and mousesports really looking for this picket towards A. Chris J, a lot of pressure. Bondik could make quite a difference here. What it is going to take down Chris J, so that picking attempt is not going to work here for mousesports, but there's still plenty of time.
Yeah, and Bondik is a good position. You just stay hidden there for a while. The thing is, when the smoke actually ends up fading, I would love to see a flash coming from Roland so he can actually clear off bathroom.
Okay, wow. What is really going to town on these guys right now? And Bondix found his moment to strike, but it's not going to go too well. And what is it? He's going to get another one. He's looking for that ace at this point, and it's going to be Blade to finish it off. What a steal there onto next. And that's a great round from Welded, but yeah, is it too little too late? Probably yes.
I mean, yeah, if you want to be positive, then I would always say, you know, yeah, if mousesports can do it, you can as well. You know, the only thing, and then, you know, the other usual one is, oh yeah, but you got to do it one round at a time. You got to win the pistol. Yeah, of course, you got to win the pistol. You got to win the pistol every round, you know, if you could.
Yeah, yeah.
But or every game, but
you're being realist,
yes.
optimistic realist.
Exactly.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, maybe.
That's maybe a thing.
Yeah, but okay, sure. For Flipsid here now, I really hope that they have done their homework on mousesports. They actually do have an idea on how they play, because this will not be pretty if they haven't.
Oh, that was a double as well, actually.
Yeah, it was
gorgeous. Yeah,
it was nasty. Yeah.
Yeah. Welded going to town, and I mean, Welded is a really good defensive AWPer. Actually, he's not necessarily that AWPer you're looking for the kind of JW play style, which is, and I'm using JW as the kind of end of this kind of the polar opposite kind of thing, like super aggressive, you know, back against the wall, kind of Kenny S style, can do anything on the aggression with the AWP. But if he's just sat there, you know, guarding these bomb sites, he can be really dangerous, and we saw a glimpse of it right there. And of course, Chris J, as you mentioned, he's not necessarily coming into play massively for the team. It's definitely been a bit of the Nex and Nico show when it comes to opening up the map. And it's quite cool that Gob has these tools to work with, and in the sense that he's got two big rifler players, two big entry fraggers, you know, just general fraggers, and he can play his default out, and he's like, he can probably say, okay, I'm imagining that one of these guys, if I put them in the right positions, they're going to create something. And if they don't, then we can move together and make an execute based on the information we have. Feels like that was the game plan there from mousesports. It really seemed to work. Yeah,
I mean, so far on this map, on the T side for mousesports, I feel like Gabi has actually really done his homework in terms of his own players. Like, okay, what do these players excel at? What can we do so we make them, you know, we make them shine? And for Nico, you know, he was just hitting that B-bombs, like getting those entries again and again. And then you have Nex, you know, being the second man in, just clean up house, basically, just being a complete madman. I mean, 23 frags in the first half, insane. Yeah.
We can see, you know, the Nex and Bondic thing here. Bondic is one of these. Bondic was always my kind of favorite Flipsid player, even in the sorry.
Can you pronounce Bondic's name?
No, probably not. What about you?
I mean, I could try. The thing is, I think it looks so cool.
It does look pretty badass.
It looks like pork chop. Vladislav Nechiporchuk. I nailed that.
That's probably pretty good.
I think I nailed that.
I'm a Brit, man. I don't know how to do this stuff.
I nailed that.
I'll do next though. Johannes Maggot. Maggot.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But Bondic, he was always one of my favorite Flipside players, if not one of my favorite players, kind of underlooked guy, generally speaking, because he's always so good in the defensive spots on CT. He used to be so reliable. He was, I think, the most reliable rifler for Flipside for the longest time in the CT sides, which was something that they used to struggle on. So he was so important for them because of that, because you could rely on putting the guy in the really hard positions, like for example, just outside of the drop into B, for example, on cobblestone. This position where you've got to look right, you've got to look left, you've got to be very cognizant of where all your teammates are moving. A lot of things that play, like, you know, playing the kind of Crim's position on Mirage, like you're on the stairs, you've got to worry about mid, you've got to worry about Palace, you've got to worry about all kinds of things. And that's what Bondic's great at, getting those multi-kills in those really hard spots.
Well, yeah, I completely agree. And one thing to note as well, when Flipsid had Simple on their team, Bondic was a little bit on the, you know, on the sidewalk a little bit. You know, he was always the most stable player.
Yeah.
But he was never the flashy player, so he was always got a little bit, you know, people didn't really care for him too much.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Simple left, Bondic was the one who you basically took over for that team, and you became the, perhaps maybe not a superstar, but their star player.
Yeah,
one of the better players that they have.
And now we're into that super important pistol. It all starts here for Flipside. If it's going to start anywhere, it needs to be here. And we can see the problem is going to be closing that distance. That's always the kind of deal. Glocks versus USPs, close that distance, use the number advantage. And so it's like figuring out how to do that without losing anyone. And Chris J, he's headhunting right now. He's looking for those Flipside heads. He's not going to find any, luckily for Flipside, just yet. And we'll see a defensive smoke there from the CTs. As Flipside still, they are playing it really passively here. Look where the bomb is, look how spread out they are.
Yeah, and for mousesports, you know, as you were saying Dan before, the B bomb site is a lot easier to retake than A. So you do see mousesports here coming in with a, looks like Nexus actually rotating back, taking a gamble. Yeah, so they do have the stack, but he's very close to the A bomb site just in case they decide to push. But yeah, look at here for Flipside as well. They're so spread out, and the bomb is basically up in mid. It's gonna be so. They're not gonna have that much time. They do have 3 smokes. So
a lot of nades.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. They will end up doing an A round here, but it's not. It's gonna cut it close.
This is really curious how they're going to use these nades. Chris J, he's going to go forwards. Oh no, Blade's going to go down before he can throw his nades. That's a really good play there from Chris J to try to dismantle this push before it can really fully take place. And now, here we go. Flipside are in onto the bomb site. We get those trades happening. Looking pretty even at the moment, but welded it over the top here. It's going to make the difference. 3 versus 2 in favor of the T's. The bomb finally planted. Dennis denied. And now it's just Nico against 3 with that USP by the stairs. And Flipside have fallen back to these excellent positions, but that's a nice tap there onto welded it. Looking for Markloff and Bondik now. Will they show themselves to Nico? Here he goes. He might just get a catch here. He's going to be very careful. Look at these bait plays coming in from these T's. And he's going to find Bondik as well, but this is still very difficult. He's going to fake it, looking for the shot. He didn't get it immediately. Oh, is he going to commit for this? He can't. It's such a hard position. Markloff finds the shot. He's going to shut down Nico. And Flipside, their hearts must have been sinking right there, but yeah, they got saved.
Yeah, I mean, World at it with 3 kills there in the beginning, hitting the bomb site. They didn't have that much time to begin with. I do believe we're going to see the triple kill here. And that's actually very smart by a World that because of the time is so, it's not on their side. He has to actually have to be a little bit aggressive through the smokes, and jumping up on that pillar, getting that 1 frag, just caused the mousesports to not be able to actually kill the bomb planner. So the bomb went down, you know, Markloff with a 1-on-1 at the end. You know, it's the start that they needed.
There's no SMGs here, not a single one from Flipside. What do you make of that?
On a map like Overpass, when you have a lot of long duels, then I would probably say that, yeah, it's good to have like 1 or 2 rifles, but I would still prefer some SMGs. Especially now, because mousesports are actually playing this smart, whereas they don't full buy, because they know that they're in the lead. They don't really need to take that gamble. Just make sure you save and make sure you get that up on Chris J if he wants one, but just to make sure that you have all the nades you need on the 3rd round.
Yeah, it's they are starting to gain some position. They did take down Chris J on A long. That could have been quite scary. And the Deagles are really scary because they are pretty good at long ranges, especially since the last update. Those hitboxes are a little bit more easy to find. Nice played now. Excellent flash there into the play onto Next. And the A-bomb site is the property of Flipside. They can put their flag in there. And Blaze just holding for his teammates. They warded it with a safe plant. Bondik, or actually no, the copy was actually in position. And we have the push at the same time. The distraction plays coming in do actually cause some damage here for Flipside, but they are still going to win the round with only two losses. So 5-12, making that climb, making the grind, but it is a long way to go.
Yeah, not too bad. It's a shame that Davcast actually didn't get to pick up the AK that went down for Flipside. I'm not sure if we're going to see. I think it's a technical pause once more. But again, we do have World that's disconnected from the game. But again, when you do have this, the technical issue as well. Again, you know, it's basically like a free timeout for both teams essentially. Now maybe mousesports, they do have a good idea. It's not like they've actually lost that many rounds on the seat side. They actually didn't even have weapons yet. So for them, it's all about, you know, just keep staying calm, make sure that, you know, these pauses and stuff doesn't get to you, and just play it safe, because you have so many more rounds to work with, especially on seat side on Overpass.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see if they can actually convert here, because the CT economy can be kind of a very delicate thing. We saw that, you know, Flipside, they were on the bad end of that. You can get really screwed over, especially in, you know, these best of ones. Sometimes if you lose too many pistols, or you just get, you know, lose that round where you had a close one before, your economy gets reset. You know, there's any number of things that can really mess with what your options and how you can play. So Flipside they really didn't look great there, but that said as well, they didn't get an opportunity to have a lot of momentum or to shine really. So yeah. So this is really their moment, and mousesports, I would be very afraid because if I was Flipside, because I feel like mousesports with Nico, with Next, they have this potential to do a lot of crazy stuff and to really throw you off your game, especially if you're a very regimented team, as Flipside do try to be. Yeah,
completely. And for this specific round for Flipside as well, you know, when you have the AKs and stuff that they played with, you know, when they end up having 2 guys that actually end up dying, because sure, maybe on the second round they didn't know that mousesports if they were to buy or if they weren't, if they were just completely safe. For the two players now, just buy SMGs anyway, and just basically just be the first one in the line basically, and just try and pick up some easy kills, just get some more money in your bank, and then for the upcoming round.
Absolutely. I mean, do you see any players for mousesports being particularly key on the CT side to really stop Flipside from playing the game that they want? Because one of Flipside's good things is that they're very well coordinated on their T sides. Like they're very good at like firing from one side and then like simultaneously firing from the other side. So you get that perfect distraction to just completely blow up defenses. Do you think is from mousesports is going to be helpful in just disrupting Flipside's T side?
Well, one thing on the seat side on overpass, I would love to see an op on Chris J, because he can just basically lock down an angle, and then you can have players like Nex and Nico, especially Nico, to play more aggressive if he wants to. You know, have some help by one of the teammates, and just be sure that you take some control over the area, or map control. Maybe on B, maybe on A. It doesn't really matter. As like that's one thing that Flipside actually didn't do on their seat side, was that they didn't really take any map control. So if mousesports have that idea where, okay, well Nico, I'm going to help you take over B, for example. I'll throw you a smoke, I'll throw you a flash. Just take it over. If you don't see anyone, great, then we can fall back. But at least we show some presence.
Yeah, because you were actually mentioning this, like the flanking thing, like being able to take some space as the CT, so like just understanding like when to take that risk of going for the flank, because it can just win you around if you like pick that risk in the right moment. And I do feel like with mousesports, do have these tools to push A long, or maybe to like, go for that monster push when you spot maybe when you get that feeling that there's a lot, maybe the team is absent from those areas, to try to exploit that. And on this map, that's one of the reasons why this map is so interesting, actually, because you can do a lot, for example, with pushing the A side of the map, and not only just like general aggression, but getting that information to then allow you to not just sit still as the CTs and just kind of wait and be reactive, and like, okay, wait for them, but you can be proactive on this map.
Yeah, and again, like I was saying the same about when Flipside was CT, just having a triple stack in the bathroom in mid area. You double boost one by the window, and then you have one in the bathroom just holding long, and then just somewhat aggressive, and then you get the entry, or maybe even two, and then you can fall back. Sure, the guy at the long bathroom, maybe he ends up falling, but you should at least get a payout for it. You should at least get two.
One thing I don't want to see from mousesports is just playing too passively, giving up map control. That's one thing I don't want to see. But we'll have to see how they approach things. We are into a bit of a save from them, of course, one more until they can actually get the buy-in, and we start to see the real CS, the real CT side of overpass from mousesports. But for now, it's just about Flipside and just us looking at how they handle these rounds, which should be for free. That's how this should be. They shouldn't lose too many players. This should be the round where they can build that money.
Yeah, and this should also be a round where you don't want to take a gamble for Flipside. So you really want to make sure that you play at least, you stick as a team, basically. Always make sure you have a buddy to help you if they decide to push. So for example, Afghan. So they are playing this pretty decent now, I'd say, for Flipside. For the people that actually work in the bomb, or the area is played and world edit, and they just try to help each other out. You see it on the minimap, where it's only having two, and then Bondic, Markov, and Davkos, they're just basically just holding for a push.
And Chris J, he's being super dirty in the connector area there. We just saw with that taser, man. Oh no, it is Markov. Is he going to get tased? Chris J's going for it. Oh, he did get actually hit by the taser. Yeah, he hit him. He actually hit him with a taser. 25 HP for him. So Markov's going to take down Chris J. That's scary. Yeah, imagine seeing that guy running at you. Yeah. It's like a...
Markov is a tank, though.
He is.
He eats that taser.
He just eats it up. And we've got Wodded actually pushing A long right now, so... Looks like he's going to spot that, hey, there's nobody towards A. This is a really good news if you're the T side. We already talked about how it can be hard to retake this bomb site. You can plant where we just saw there behind the container, fall back to toilets if you want, or as we're seeing Wodded it go forwards, he's going to take control of the bank. The bank is now under Wodded's control. And mousesports unlikely to get too much damage out of this at this point, but there is a cheeky frag, and Wodded is pretty low. Markov, of course, still on 25 points of health. Dennis is lurking around. Nico's picked himself up an AK, and he's running with that. He knows that that is a win, just getting that to safety, and he should be able to do so successfully.
Yeah, it's basically Nico saves 2.7k basically just by keeping the AK. So overall for Flipside, they ended up just losing one member, so it's not a bad equal at all. But yeah, now this is the point of time where it's going to be exciting to see what mousesports actually decide to do here.
And now we have The AWP on Chris J. Now, where's it going to go? We're going to see him towards B. Is he going to go for the A picks? There's a lot to do on this map, actually, with the AWPs on the CT side. But Worlded got one as well, so you'd expect him to be looking for those picks. With Worlded having one, it does suggest to me that they're going for a bit of a slower style.
Yeah, which is completely fine, especially, you know, for the first weapon round. You want to make sure that, you know, you don't do anything fast, because you want to try to get a feel for what does mousesports want to do here, you know, especially on the first weapon round, because there's always going to be like one of those cases where, okay, maybe on the first weapon round we might not go aggressive, we're just going to see, you know, what kind of default they have, or they might just go aggressive just to, you know, catch the T's off guard. So this is a very nice and passive play coming from Flipside, just making sure that they have all the grounds covered.
And you can see Chris J. Is he going to get lucky here? Looks like he won't be challenged just yet, but there's the flash over the top. It's not good. Worlded it will go down. And there is the first frag, first blood drawn by the AWP of Chris J. And now mousesports can be a little bit more comfortable playing passively if they want. Sit on the advantage. Or alternatively, you can see that they're still looking for some information towards toilets. Dafkos is going to flash it over the top here. This could be really good if somebody's... Oh, smoke, sorry. It could be quite cool if you get those pop flashes in to allow the players to peek from short. Nico's close here, has to be careful not to get sandwiched. He's going to peek onto Dafkos, he's going to go down. The flames will hurt Nico's reposition, but he's still going to find some angles to spray through onto the smoke. So Nico doing a good job holding it down at the moment. There's the second kill onto Bondik. But finally Blade will find the angle for the punish. There's the double from him, and that's going to allow Markov in, but he's against 3 players. Catching Nex off guard. It's just Nex to do this, Markov to do this against Gob, B and Chris J. He's going to go down to Gob. Great positioning there in the water, and there's very limited time left as well. So mousesports managed to hold on. Only three deaths there. It's not too horrendous.
Yeah, and for the first initial frag for Chris J, I was actually going to talk about this scenario as well. Nico gets the first entry there, then he basically just leaves the whole area, just left it completely open. That's why you saw Nico, both Nico and this teammate. I'm not sure who, maybe it was Dennis, just being stuck on the bomb side. They didn't even know where he got shot from. Bondik had 2 easy kills there. They could have ended up potentially way worse.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting here because, you know, Flipside could still have an opportunity. They don't have the best buy in the world, but they can, if they win this one, reset mousesports or begin to, you know, work on just resetting them and get good momentum. That could put them to close to tying up the game. And so this is an incredibly important round for both teams. Mousesports could secure a pretty strong victory with this one, or allow Flipside back into the game. Gobby's playing close here by the toilets. He's going to just fall back a little bit, forcing Flipside to use grenades to buy some positioning.
Yeah, again, very slow and methodical, which is great. I mean, they tried the same thing the last round, which is the flash that World that I got to challenge Chris J was kind of poor, so he ended up falling. But yeah, this is good. You know, you see on the look at the minimap for Flipside, they do start to get some map control. Markov's very aggressive in connector. You know, they are starting to get some long control as well and mid control. So.
And here it is. They're starting to test Chris J's his prowess with the AWP. He's going to miss the second shot, actually. Opportunities perhaps here for the T side as Flipside go in now. We get trays. Chris J's going in as well. Straight to that toilet position. He's close. He knows that long is compromised, and his teammates are down on the other side. He had to go for it, but he's not going to deliver. It is a big moment right now for Flipside as they move in. Nico's looking to stop everything, though. Taking down Blade. It's just on World of it now, and it's not going to be enough. Nico's going to clutch it for mousesports, and what a huge round there. Now Flipside, they're in a horrible spot. They've got no money. They're on the brink of losing this one, and mousesports, well, they have got nothing but comfort.
Yeah, the rotation coming from mousesports was so fast. You saw Nico there. He was extremely, after the push there, that's when you see the rotation coming from mousesports. And then Nico, he didn't really give a damn. As soon as he got to CT spawn, he just ran up the smoke, you know, got the initial kill, leaving it to a one-on-one situation, and ends up winning it. So extremely well-timed rotation there from mousesports.
Nico we trust. Pants on head Nico. And we've got the pistols out here, so Flipside going to be playing for the overtime essentially. Not expecting to do too much in this round, and in they go now. Dennis is going to fall down into the water, but he's got the cover in. Nico spraying them down. There's the third one as well from Nico. It's just Markov left with that pistol. Not much really to do at this point. Bomb is down in the hands of the CTs, and indeed, you know, Flipside, they didn't expect to win this round, but they were hoping at least to get some damage in and maybe a cheeky bomb plant. That was more or less the idea.
Yeah, and Nico is actually, you know, tied with Nex now in terms of kills. He's been chasing those eco frags. He's like, I'm not going to let you have the end of this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's great to see Nico and Nex playing well, to be honest. And I mean, Nex basically started the match off with an ace. So that it's always pretty good sign when your star player gets the ace right away.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, do or die for Flipside. Again, their initial like default strats that they do have, I do like that from Flipside. They are taking their time. You know, they're not doing anything you know, that might just cost them an initial entry or whatnot. Just make sure that, you know, you're keeping mousesports quite defensive and passively, and if they do decide to push, then you should have your grounds covered to potentially get a free kill.
And here we have a more aggressive positioning from Chris J in this situation. And this angle, what could be a bit of an off angle to what Flipside might expect, could pay off. But what if it's actually going to take down God B? And that really compromises Chris J's forward position there. And once again, he's deciding he's going to maybe push with this. Actually, he's going back a little bit. He's just holding this kind of middle ground on the A-long. And this is a really great spot right now for Flipside. They found another kill as well. This aggression from mousesports really not paying off against the passive opening. And Markov finds Dennis. 1 by 1, the CTs fall. And Flipside, never say die.
No, but this was exactly what I was talking about when Flipside, again, it's a good idea for them to just stay passive, just make sure that you have your grounds covered. If mousesports decide to push, you should actually get like a free kill or two. Now they got 3, so potentially they should never lose this round. They have the whole B bomb side, Nex and Chris J. There's really no point in even trying, so they're gonna try and save here in the bathroom. But yeah, great round by Flipside. And for mousesports, very sloppy. Sure, you have a lot of rounds to play with. But it shouldn't go to the point where you decide to push, you know, 1 by 1 everywhere, right? It's kind of stupid.
All right, Robin, give me the financial report.
For what?
For the match.
Oh, financial report.
Yeah. What's the money like? You know, what's going on in the monies, the economies,
the money.
Financial report with Robin.
Yeah. Welcome to TV6 News.
Nice.
This is a financial report coming in from Cluj, Napoca and Major. No, but for mousesports, they are actually not in a good situation money-wise, which is why you saw Chris J and Nex not even trying to get some exit frags. We will potentially see, unless Chris J and Nex could potentially drop 2 pharmacists and they can still do somewhat of a buy here. I would not advise that, because again, you have 8 more rounds to play with. You don't really need to do anything here. Just save with the 2 weapons you have. If you end up winning the round, great. If you don't, then it's not really a big deal.
Absolutely, and we're going to see big pop-up pump on Dennis. We've got Julie's out in God B. Nico's rocking the 5-7, so it's going to be an interesting round considering the lowdown of mousesports as we have God B with those Julies. Looks very cool indeed, sitting there in the toilets area. It's not really the best range for the dualies against a rifle, so I definitely don't like his chances there. He's just going to spot, get some information, fall back a little bit, find some new positions to toy with his opponents, as systematically Flipside play that anti kind of force fight situation. Dennis goes down, so that's the shotgun out of the picture, and that makes me very sad.
Yeah, I think I wonder if it was a misbuy from Gabi. I think they might have been trying to buy a deagle or something, especially on this map, because there's so many like long-range duels. Having the dualies, yeah, you see Gabi just hiding, you know, behind the truck. So, and he had an 80, he threw it somewhere. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna get too much of a payoff with those. It looks fancy and all, but you know, at the end of the day, they're not really gonna do that much damage.
Yeah, he's lurking around the toilets though. What can he find here in the box? Got Markov there, he's just waiting patiently. And the rest of his team is going to make their way up A-long. And there it is, Go B will be spotted. Didn't have any Kevlar either, so that's a bit of a sad situation there for him. And this should be pretty easy right now. But that said, Nico's going to turn around and drop Blade, who gets team kill rewarded it onto Bondic. And, well, looks like things should be all right here now for Flipside. They're 2 versus 1 here. Chris J actually likes his chances. He's going to go in here, moving into position behind Optimus, pushing forwards with that AWP, going aggressive behind the smoke. They may not expect this. Now he's just dancing around, looking for a quick spot with that jump. There's the first shot. He's going to whip that, give away his position, go for the fake here, try to draw out Davkos, but it's not happening. Chris J realizes that he may have bitten off more than he can chew. And he spits it out and falls back. Yeah,
very smart plan coming from Flipside. Putting it a little bit further away from the box, because you saw when Chris J there, because it's a very common spam spot, especially when there's smoke down, that you just plant towards the box. And that was the area he shot at, so he actually could have potentially just ended up killing the bomb planner. But then Flipside a little bit smarter, you know, planning a little bit further away. Chris J missed the shot, and then just, you know, stay hidden, because at the end of the day, he needs to defuse the bomb, and you're in a perfect situation to try and counter that. So Chris J, you know, saved the op, which is great for him. He saved a lot of money for doing so, and for mousesports, I actually really like this from mousesports. They're actually saving one more time. Yeah, sure, you do have some armor, you have a deagle or whatever, but they're saving money, so potentially for the next round they will have all, all the nades and everything that they may need.
Yeah, if Threat was him, a good throwing threat, he would say, in this situation, you just have to find a solution to get as many buy rounds as physically possible when you're just one round away from winning. Yeah, and that it's lovely to see that they have that approach indeed. And well, Flipside, they should be able to win this round pretty effectively. Davkost is going to get rushed down there though, and that's a gun claimed by Dennis. And Nico's going to be lurking around the bank area, moving his way forwards now onto the site. There's 2 players there, so Flipside do need to be careful here. Good use of grenades to try to clean out the site, but Christe's going to find himself 2 frags out of nowhere. Now Weldon is there with the AWP. There's fire laid down, and he has no idea where to look. Christe, he's going to bring it home with a 4K. Great stuff there from mousesports. 16-8 finish, convincing result indeed. Flipside, they could just never get it going.
Yeah, amazing round by Christe. You know, when mousesports decided to push the B bombs and Davkost going down, they had nothing, and mousesports and Flipside were basically forced to just rush the A bomb site, and there you have Christe waiting with his off that he stayed. Think about it this way, if he didn't have the same weapon in the last round, then he wouldn't have the off this round. He would just be staying like everyone else, and chances are he would probably not get that 4K. But overall, I think it was a very solid play from mousesports. I think that they did a very good job on their T side, on the seat side as well, you know, getting the picks. I love it when to see that Christe actually decided to pick up the off for this match. Like I said, last time I casted their game, he actually didn't really op on overpass at all. It's great to see that he's actually opping. For Flipside, you know, it's quite hard that, you know, money was never with them on their CT side. They, you know, they were quite starved in terms of nades. They didn't really have Molotovs a single time, couldn't really hold off an aggressive play. And when they did so though, when they did go aggressive, that's when they ended up getting those entries, you know, getting those entries on Nico, just making sure that, you know, the mousesports do only have like one particular side of the map to work with, and just leave so much room for Flipside to work with. So
all right guys, it looks like we're on the stage, so we're going to throw it down there.
Thank you very much. Chris J with me now. Well done, Chris. Good victory in the end, and not that hard a fought game. Talk us through the first half. It looked pretty straightforward from our point of view.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, we kind of know what Flipside like to do on overpass. We felt prepared on that map. We felt confident in our own rounds that we could play ST, and everything just worked. I mean, Next played amazing. That helped for sure. And Nico stepped up in some rounds. So yeah, everything according to plan, I guess. Yeah,
talking about Next, 20 kills after 8 rounds. What was he doing in there?
I have no idea what he was doing. It was amazing.
Fantastic. Nice way to end for you as well at the end. Nice bit of 4K action on the last round.
Yeah.
Playing well, feeling good?
Sorry?
Playing well, feeling good?
Well, I guess I'm playing good 1 round. Yeah, I'm feeling good anyway. I mean, the team is playing good, then I'm happy.
What happened yesterday?
To be honest, we felt even more prepared against Gamers 2 on Inferno than Flipside now, but we had some communication issues, we made some individual mistakes, and things just fell apart in important rounds, and today we just played more focused and stepped up our game.
What did you talk about last night when you finished the game yesterday to come back in with such a positive frame of mind today? Yeah,
like most importantly, don't let our heads down, work a lot on the communication. We are prepared good, but we need to talk with each other in game to make sure everything is running well, and yeah, it paid off.
Were you surprised by Flipside playing so poorly, both yesterday and today? They didn't seem to be quite as good as we've seen them in the past.
I don't know. I don't think I can blame Flipside for losing against TSM. I mean, TSM is the best in the world, and any team would have trouble against them. But now, I don't know. It was more like Next destroyed them, and I cannot blame them for that. Next is on fire. It's hard to play.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Well done. And we'll see you again as you stay alive in the CSGO Major. Well done, Chris J. And ladies and gentlemen, still got more action to come for you, of course. All 16 teams will be featured here on the main stage throughout the day. And our next match is not too far away. But we are headed to a break now, and then we'll hear from our Intel analyst desk once more. So, yeah, you've been waiting for one of these cheesy puns. I'll see you on the flip side.
So Simple could always one-man carry you to the win. It's like there's a great Michael Jordan quote, okay, where one of his coaches or something said to him, like, listen, Michael, there's no I in team. He goes, nah, but there is in win. It's the idea, if you want to win that one big game, the superstar can do that for you. The team can't always do that. That's the problem for Flipside is, if you look at the totality of the players, they've got some decent players here and there. Still no one really who's approaching star caliber.
I'm just thinking about Michael Jordan after he dropped that quote to his coach as well, going, wrecked, and just walking out of the room. Why not, right? So what are your thoughts, brother?
This match, for me, it's mousesports. Because I think it was yesterday, was it Semler that compared them to Cloud9? Someone on the desk compared them to Cloud9. I think that's really apt. They have that strategic, Godby and Sean. But just more so in the fact that they always show that potential, but then they never reach it. They don't do it often enough. They just kind of collapse. And with mousesports right now, going into the last major was a team that we expected to do damage, had a very poor event, and then coming into this major, they haven't even progressed from what they performed in Cologne.
I really don't know what happened to mousesports, because like I say, they were in the ascendancy. They were the surprise package. I remember when they came out with this new lineup, after the German shuffle, and they went to Gfinity, and I said this on camera, so I got absolutely hauled over the coals. I said, I think they're the weakest team here. I don't think they're going to do anything. And they came out fighting. They had a win over Virtus Pro, I think it was there, a win over Cloud9, it might have been as well. They were looking really, really strong. And then they went into this big sort of, it was almost like a meteoric rise to the point where people were saying maybe they can be dark horses for the major, but something happened at the Ace of Predator Masters. They were in that ridiculous best-of-7 final, an absolute attritional slog. They were going up against a team in the form of Hellraisers who had to play a bunch of maps. There's no way they should have lost that game, and they did. And then they had to go to the major afterwards, and they crapped out early. So I think they're in the doldrums. I think they're suffering from almost like an identity crisis or something.
I'm not a believer in this mousesports team at all. Like, the two teams I picked that I said was certainly going to go out of the tournament was Vexed and Flipside. Didn't believe in them, looked at the groups, it was like everyone can beat them here. But it's not that Flipside have impressed me, it's that mousesports. What I've started to take account of is I really do think they're choking majors. Like, I saw how terrible they were at the last major, they didn't match up well with anyone. I've seen it this one, they look absolutely dire. People like Nex aren't showing up. There's rumors maybe he's ill.
They have their superstars, and their superstars just don't ever reach that level.
There's rumors he's ill. Everyone talks about Nico coming in. What's Nico done so far? Nothing. So I don't believe in him.
I think they're perpetual.
He doesn't want to have to cry on camera.
Yeah, that's true. He is emotional.
Yeah.
What did you make of Cloud9 anyway?
I was waiting that entire match was just like holding my breath, waiting for them to drop the ball, like they normally do. They normally always have like one heartbreak round. They looking good, and then lose an eco or something. They lose an anti-eco round, and then it just all goes downhill. But it didn't come, and they were the ones that switched things around when it looked like Vex was actually going to take that at a certain point. So, I mean, it's not enough for them. I mean, it's not like celebration or anything because they're expected to get out of groups.
Can we make a little documentary about Moses and have like slow-mo footage of him watching the game? Take my breath away.
And then we could do Henry from London with EZ skins. Those
I could get one of those. I could get one of those Valve.
It would just be him in an empty room going, they're not at the tournament. So anyway, let's talk about the next game. Obviously, Flipside versus mousesports. That's why we were doing the Markov video. It was thematically appropriate. But two teams that we feel are in the doldrums right now. Flipside seem to be going through an identity crisis. They've lost the player, the ever controversial Simple, but phenomenally talented. They've got this new lineup here, and they're going to go up against the mousesports team that equally brought in a new player that was meant to be the key to their success, the key to cementing their position and ironing out the problems they've had. They looked pretty lackluster against G2 yesterday. So just some opening thoughts about these two teams.
The simple thing is, it's almost gotten to the point where I feel bad for the teammates that Simple has, not even because of his toxicity in game, but because that's all we talk about. We put so much emphasis on him every time he's on a team. Even when he was with Hellraisers, now Oscar kind of came in, and obviously he's left them, but it's always Simple, because he has that explosive factor. But the thing is, the other team, like Blade is an exceptional in-game leader. We don't give him enough credit sometimes. They've got Markelov with a lot of experience, and one of the things that Blade used to say about Davkost in specific when they used him, and of course they've used him at previous ESL majors due to Simple's ban, that Davkost listens very well, and he actually applies himself to the team very well, and it actually, he thinks as a team they play better with Davkost. They may not have that explosive skill that Simple had, but he thinks they're actually more productive with him in the lineup.
Well, and they've been on the record as saying in interviews, we're a better team without Simple.
I mean, they're wrong, by the way.
Yeah, they're wrong. I think there's a bit of kidology there.
If you want to use semantics, I could believe they play well without him. Like, they play better, as in, like, the unit functions better, their communication, they feel like they know what their strengths are. Problem is, no one in this team's Simple.
So great documentaries there that we've been doing about all of the legends in the game. And, of course, Markelov, another one of the Na'Vi alumni, one of those just great players with so much pedigree, so much history. And again, I'll bring you in here, the Counter-Strike historian, Duncan. Just a few thoughts about him as a player.
I mean, in 1.6, one of the best players ever, even though he only got his chance to be like a star because Na'Vi only came around in 2010. So So he only basically had like less than 2 years to be fully on top. Well, I guess 2.5 to be fully at the top of the game. But he's one of those people, along with Get Right, where because they came along at the end, how spectacular they were, couldn't catch up with the other greats. Because the other greats had the 6, the 7 years of career. But I always thought if CS 1.6 had lasted 3 or 4 years more, Narkov would have been one of the guys who we'd now be talking about. You could make the case, is he like the best player ever? Because one of his key qualities he had was he wasn't just a phenomenally skilled player, phenomenally skilled fragger, but he was one of the best big game players you'll ever see. He's never been able, unfortunately, to translate it to CSGO, but in 1.6, if you put him in the big final and you gave him the AWP, you put him against any team, he would just take over the whole game.
Yeah.
To be fair, you made the point that we haven't really seen that translate to CSGO, but the last major Markelov stats were actually the most impressive on his entire team. So he did step up in that case for Flipside last time, and of course now on the rifle.
And right at the start of CSGO, of course, it was one of the big debates, wasn't it? You know, like, was Markelov going to be this, phenomenal talent? He did have that good run right at the start. So.
Well, Anders is convinced that talking to him that Markelov just has a switch he can flip and just become that star player again. He thinks that Markelov's like just holding something back.
He just doesn't know where it is.
Yeah, no, he just hasn't wanted to unleash it yet for whatever reason. So if you talk to Anders about Markelov,
Anders thinks he's like Professor X, and he's going out there trying to find people with the latent mutant gene, and he's like, listen, if you just get in touch with yourself and find what the special thing inside, so you can become something powerful in this game. And I'm like, okay, mate. Well, about 2 of them ever did.
Anders can make you believe it, though.
Yeah.
Not me though, because I'm Magneto, mate. I'm like, listen,
he might think he's Professor X.
I'll find the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
You might think he's Professor X, but he looks more like Beast.
See, he can take Markelov. I'll have Simple.
Right.
I'll unleash that guy on the world.
Let's just introduce. You'll notice we've swapped Henry out. Henry's getting ready. I think he's going to be casting a game. We brought Moses in, and obviously...
when one NA fanboy is not enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I was really hoping at this stage we were going to be able to just go in and wreck you a little bit. One of the NA teams might have fallen, but your boys actually came up good.
It's in Moses' contract that he doesn't actually have to do the desk when NA teams are doing it. Because
Well, we're about to get into the veto, and here it is coming up on screen now. So let's get some thoughts before we start seeing the picks and bans. Where do we think this is going to go? Please not Cobble.
Right, mousesports traditionally are a Dust 2 cash team, and then they used to have Train was kind of like a third one they had in their pocket sometimes. Flipside, traditionally Mirage. I think more recently they're going to want something like maybe Overpass into the mix. But I actually feel as, mousesports banning away Train there, Dust 2 ban away for Flipside. These two make sense so far. I imagine we're going to end up, unfortunately, towards something like
Cobblestone.
Inferno.
Both these teams do actually like it. This would be the one time I would say I would expect it almost.
Okay,
well, Flipside beat mousesports at Cobblestone at the last major.
And it was mousesports that were absolutely woeful on Inferno yesterday against G2. Couldn't take Banana once. Definitely not a good day at the Greengrocers for them, so no surprise to see that.
You could also see Cash in as much as Flipside have always played Cash, but they decided to ban it themselves because remember, they got brutalized yesterday by TSM.
If mousesports don't ban Mirage, I see that making it through as well. Flipside really enjoy their T side on that map. Much like they, and by the way, they liked the first iteration of Cobble that had to be completely rebalanced. They were one of the only teams that liked the T side on that, so they're very comfortable in
Everyone
that
should
map.
thank mousesports. Everyone should thank mousesports right now.
Oh, God bless you, mousesports.
Let's hope we end up on Overpass.
That's smart against Flipside.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's see how this one's going to go. The Valve's patented randometer is doing its magic. And there we go. So it's going to be Overpass. I think it's the first time we've seen it this tournament, right? So we haven't had an Overpass game yet. So this is interesting. Let's talk about Overpass and these two teams on it. Do you think this slightly favors Flipside, I should say?
I think Flipside's going to win this match. I thought it before anyway. I think the map's a good one for them. I would have been a little bit more questionable on Cobble. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I think this is the right map for them. I think they're going to win this night game.
Okay, well, you've heard Duncan's thoughts. Gentlemen, you're the...
I believe Flipside's going to win it as well. I just don't have any confidence in mousesports, and I think this map as well. You notice when this map gets played, the kind of how it's played recently is these. It's a map that lends itself to teams having their duelists, where you have your really good player who's wonderful in one-on-ones, either lurks out towards that long A, or holds off any kind of B aggression from the defense, and he takes those one-on-one battles later on in the round when he feels rotations have gone away. And I think you look at the specialists on mousesports, those star players that we already discussed, not living up to their name, not living up to the hype around them. I think that is going to look
underperformance. If you go back before that as well, Chris J's always had this online J's. He's made land performances a little better, but they had Alu, they had Kerrigan at a time. Gabi wasn't even their strategic starter for a while until Kerrigan left, and even then they weren't getting the results and responses. They were struggling to get into the fourth spot for ESEA land, and 2 years ago even. I mean, they've constantly had this problem. So
I mean, I would say the one shining beacon for them of late is the fact that Chris J does turn up at LAN, and then that is doing that consistently. His performance has been great. The rest of his teammates just haven't. I mean, think about it. It's not even 3 months ago. We're talking about Next as this next big European rifle star. He had such a explosive period where he was just wrecking everybody, and we're like, this is like the German Shocks or something. Since then, fallen well off, and it's really hurt the team.
And that's just kind of the best way to describe mousesports, is they've just fallen off. You said they had that meteoric rise, and since then it's just been nothing.
And they went back to speaking English as well to help out Nico, because they brought him back in for Speedy. That's gonna hurt a bit. I mean, you naturally want to yell in your first language, the first thought that comes to your mind, so you can get communication out as fast as possible.
Well,
and now they've got to water it a little bit for him. So.
Switching to English doesn't really matter when one of your teammates is rumored to have tonsillitis, and he probably can't.
Yeah, he can't even talk.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
And of course, we all know Gobby's got a good grasp of some of the ruder words of the English language, of course. I guess it is a fair comparison to talk about them in the same breath as Cloud9, because you look at Cloud9, you think they've got all the tools for success, but the machine sort of misfires. It's not very well assembled. It's not very well oiled. You look at mousesports, I'd say it's the same. You've got big stars. You've got people with big talent. You've got a tactical mastermind. You've got a flamboyant and exuberant AWPer. You've got solid and reliable players that can just get their one frag and do it. Where is it all going wrong for mousesports? Can we pinpoint it?
I think you can do. It's hard to pinpoint it exactly, but where you can start is their superstars, much like Cloud9's. You think Cloud9, they have Skadoodle, they have Shroud. We discussed it watching that match. They didn't show up to play in that Vex match early on. They're very fortunate to actually win that match. Same thing with mousesports, is their stars, Next, Nico, they don't show up. I mean, they just need to produce more than they are currently for this team. You know, as much as we give Gabi, credit for how strategical, how well he does in terms of tactics with his team, we've seen him do brilliantly. It doesn't matter if you have the best tactics in the world if the people that are getting 20 to 25 kills are only hitting, 12 to 15 in these big matches.